Hello everyone. Yeah, today's review, I guess, reaction video. We're actually going to look at the DBL All-Stars from the last sim, so you should be able to see it up on the screen here. Um, and yeah, so we'll do history and All-Star history, and here we go, start draft. All right, so first one, I'm gonna cover off the screen. First one is Paul George having a great season for Indiana. Yeah, hype. Let's go. And the second one is Steph Curry. Wow, good season for Golden State. I'm actually pretty excited to see a good Golden State. It's going to be competitive. I hope they knock off OKC. All right, Kevin Durant. No, really, it's like Michael Jordan making an All-Star team. Shocking. I mean, he's the greatest player in BL history by a mile. All right, now we're on to Derrick Rose. I think this is actually a slightly down season for him. He's one of the best players in the DBL. Um, he's basically asked to run that team alone. Because they lost a lot in the offseason. I really think that they're going to have a great offseason, though. Prime. I mean, who doesn't want to play Derrick? Next up, Lance Stevenson. What? I might have two all league teams. That's hype. Lance doing a little bit of everything. He's literally just Scottie Pippen, Paul George's. I'm just saying. I mean, they're running together for years. They're going to win any championship. Right. Just Paul. He's having an unbelievable season. Honestly, he should be where Rose is because his team actually has got success. Yeah, of course, this is third. Kawhi Leonard. He's not putting up great stats offensively. He must be doing something defensively, right? Shoot, I saw the next guy. Yeah, that's tragedy. He's he's like around 2.4 steals a game. That's not too bad. Right. As I said, I spoiled the next one. Dirk Favors. He's basically Utah. They're rebuilding around him, but he had a great prog. Yes, he looked overpaid on the surface, but he's going to be phenomenal for them. Next up, Marcus Cousins. Sacramento might be struggling. Marcus is not. He is in town and ready to play. Boogie's leading his team to the playoffs. Wade's a solid number two. They just need a little bit more depth around him. But long term, this team could be really great around DeMarcus. Carmelo, he's struggling with injuries, but he's been great in Phoenix. I mean, he's averaging a double-double. I think that's the first time in his career. If I'm being honest, I'm also surprised with because he's a pretty strong player. Like in terms of raw strength, he's one of the strongest players at his position, being a small forward naturally in the last like 20 seasons. Um, he's a built player and plays more like a power forward traditionally, especially on the ISO ball. Naturally, was a small forward due to the fact he was a prominent scorer before most perimeter and mid-range scorers happen to be power forwards like Laurie Marketing. So, regardless, Carmelo averaging 28 and 10, great for him. I'm excited for Phoenix long term. I know they're going for somebody in the draft. I know who, but next up, Pete Howard. Okay. Um. So yeah. Um. He's defensive stats. I'm not a fan of Dwight. His stats seem empty to me. I think that's the reason LA is struggling a lot. I mean, I think that's the most empty you'll ever see. Next up, Mike Conley, underrated. He's making an All-Star team. He deserves it. Him and Kawhi are such a fundamental duo. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs are always going to be a fun team to root for. Great Popovich and all, but like, talk to DM. Hopefully, maybe we'll get coaches one day. Just at least like the name, not necessarily like stats or any rating side to them. I'm just trying to get the name. Just want to see Greg Popovich win some rings. I also hope maybe Ty. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, Renz Noel. Um, yeah, he, he's basically this league's Ben Simmons. I mean, he took the league by storm. Gasol, he's a vacuum, playing great. Needs him help in the offseason, but they're actually really primed for a great offseason because they have a lot of cap, a lot of young players, and a lot of talent. Could be great season if they can get a scoring small forward. Oh, they're okay. They shouldn't have traded. Next up, Andrew Bynum. Okay, I did jinx Charlotte. They're going to be contenders for years. I think they're in a good spot. Yes, Kemba Prague down, but as a whole, it's a pretty good team. I give a lot of credit to DD, their GM, the Michael Jordan. I mean, at least in BBGM style. Probably not in real life. Oof, be rough in real life. But anyway, out to Bynum, deserves it. He's having a great year. I'm glad that we're getting to see final. Um, Charlotte as a team, they need help. Good, but they're not really in deep this year. They'll probably be in the seventh, eighth seed, assuming they stay healthy. On Jenkins, what a breakout! The breakout. That man deserves it. I mean, G-Man, when he's done with the ageless but somehow decrepit Atlanta team, is insane. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the East. Like their average age is like 36, 34, something like that in their starting lineup, with the exception of Jenkins. Jenkins is their young star. He is basically what Evan Martin was when he was younger. A great two-way scoring player that's got immense potential to be a great three-point shooter. And a great all-around guy. We'll see if he develops further. So Westbrook. I'm actually surprised to see him here because Russell Westbrook of the DBL never really became his own star just because KD stayed around. Like, he disappoints me. He just isn't a great scorer or passer. I'm sure he's a solid defender. I can check. Solid. Great. Okay, next up is Eric Gordon. Um, he's basically solo carrying Detroit to a finals run. I mean, a finals run, playoff run, playoff run, hopefully finals run, hopefully finals run. But that team's exciting. They're like in a weird state too. And Jonas Valanciunas. I mean, Toronto is one of the most exciting teams in the league. Good for Jonas, good for Toronto. They have a new GM, Ian Chunky over from ABA. He's coming over. Um, exciting. Yeah, that goes. What's up, Griffin? Um, get traded Loki. But LAC is the biggest surprise in the league. If I'm being entirely honest, I thought like, this year, I thought that Lexco might just break down like ABA Hiller did as my co-GM and just like really or Kokamish. I thought he might like really struggle early on. You know what? That team's grit and grind. Like it's just all players doing great. The defense is great, and there's Blake at the center of it. So Anthony Davis, I'm actually shocked because he regressed a lot, but I suppose CP3 really helps his game develop and the really core reason why this team is good. Brandon Jennings, no surprise here. I mean, him and Henson are carrying Milwaukee. Boozer and Ellis really dropped off, but somehow the team got better. In most of my test sims, they're making the conference final. One of my test sims, I won the championship. It happened to be the one that OKC didn't make the finals. It's actually Milwaukee versus Golden State, which is like cool. Damn, the attendance was so bad. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but Milwaukee and Golden State back in like 2014 were tiny markets. Golden State didn't really become big till KD came around. Like the Splash Bros sold tickets, but no more than Portland did just 2 years ago. So. And Schroeder, this man's going to be a legend or a complete letdown. I mean, he could be like DBL's John Wall or Steve Rice, but he definitely has potential to also be that breakout star. Might have just given him the Rice jinx. Oh my god, Audio has him too. Oh, would be too funny. McDermott, hype, great draft pick by Jade Audio. I mean, the two of them, Schroeder and McDermott, great duo. This team could be special. Hey, Love, honestly, a little surprised. Houston does have a legit big three. Rondo, Braun, Love. They're all putting up good stats. K Love hasn't really regressed in this league. He did in real life. So I want to see if we can get a ring out of them real quick. And here we got Kemba. I had to take my hands away now because we had only 3 guys left, and it looks like the last 2 are actually injured. Oh my god, there's so many All-Star snubs. There's so many All-Stars. 5 injuries, 4 injuries. Insane. Kemba having a great year. Or actually, he's having a down year, but great relatively in terms of they're actually going to be a playoff team. Working well with Bynum. I have long-term hope that Enes Kanter struggling with injuries. He's actually there's 359s. That's insane. Yeah, it's almost never make. And if they do, they're like an overperforming PER guy. And Enes Kanter having a solid season. I mean, he's going to be a potential huge number 2. I thought Utah when they had Kanter in favors in real life. going to turn those two into a great front court. And they drafted a guy like Donovan Mitchell a year earlier, and those two developed like I thought they could. That could have been a really solid team. Um, and then Tim Hardaway, doing great for Denver. And yeah, there we go. They're the DBL All Stars.